Let's speak to the Cape Crime Crisis Coalition chairperson, Dr. Llewellyn McMaster, now for his assessment of the situation. Good to have you on SABC News, sir. So the question of the day is, how effective has the deployment of the military to these gang-ridden areas in Cape Town been in reducing the level of crime?
I think, thank you for having me. Just to go one or two steps back, I think the Cape Crime Crisis Coalition has, from the very onset, expressed its own criticism of the deployment based on especially the last deployment in 2019. And when we realized it's going to happen, we also released a document where we set out a number of guidelines from the side of civil society that we think should be taken into account by the police and the army even before the deployment. Now, we all know how April, the month of the deployment here in Cape Town, started, and the whole month was just blood flowing on our streets. And I think it has continued up to the last weekend. And of course, as you know, it's normally just the mass killings that's being highlighted. But I think the numbers tells us that we are in a deep crisis. So yes, it's early, as the General Patekile has said, but as a C4, the Cape Crime Crisis Coalition, we feel it's not too early to ask critical questions about the effectiveness of this deployment. And we contend that the current public narrative relies heavily on activity-based indicators such as arrests, confiscations, and patrols, rather than what we view meaningful measures of long-term safety and crime reduction.
What would those meaningful measures, those metrics, what would they be if we're not going to rely on arrests and raids, for example, to measure the success of the police and the military?
I think for us it is, yes, of course you need the arrest and the firearm seizures and so forth and so forth. But it actually boils down to the fact that we think that the deployment should ultimately be judged not by the number of soldiers deployed, arrests made, or items confiscated, but by whether it achieves lasting reductions in gang violence, whether it secures convictions against gang leaders, whether it strengthens community safety structures and addresses the underlying social conditions that sustain organized crime. I think this is important for us.
Right.
So our central message is measure outcomes, not optics, because boots on the floor, on the ground is important. The presence of these forces are important because people need that assurance or reassurance that the government is serious. But sustainable safety is built through effective criminal justice, strong communities, and socio-economic development, not by military presence alone.
And Dr. McMaster, when you look at the dozens of people who've been shot dead, especially since the beginning of this year, 2026, who is being killed in these communities? And then second to that, in terms of these police operations, be it the raids and the arrests, who is being arrested? Are we seeing the masterminds, the leaders of the gangs being put in handcuffs?
Yeah. I think for me, it's really a mix of victims because of organized crime. We don't even just talk about gangsterism. We talk about gang ecosystems because it's not just your shall I say, traditional gangs. It is, of course, the extortioners that has find almost like an easy way to make money. And they are the people also who cause fear in communities not to come forward to police because the community is not certain if the police is really capable stemming this tide of violence. And of course, South Africa sits with a problem with aggression and violence have become so normalized in society, and that's why we talk about a breakdown in the moral fiber. So the victims are gang related. It's extortion. Extortioners doing their thing. It's robbery, and of course it's GBF and all these other crimes. What we see and what we read about and what we hear is definitely not the main gang bosses or leaders and even drug lords that's being arrested. It is your foot soldiers. And I think at the beginning of the deployment, it was made clear by the army and the police that they're going for the big guns. And that is the way to break it. Now, General Patekile just said earlier on, it's too early for that, and we must give them a chance. But we also want to say it's not too early for the almost hundreds plus people who have been killed just in the 2 months. So there is an urgency, and we will remain critical of these operations because we want to see results. But I must also say, at the same time, the Cape Crime Coalition is engaging with police. We're engaging with the minister. We have a process now that we have committed ourselves to work with SAPS to co-design an anti-gang strategy. And this Saturday, we're starting off with that process. We hope that it will eventually, in the long term, bear fruit. And that people will really experience a change.
Dr. McMaster, stay with me. I just want to bring everyone who may just be joining us up to speed with what we're waiting for. We're following a situation in the Western Cape, in one of the areas affected by gangsterism, where the military has been deployed since April of this year. You're looking now at police officers and residents who are on the street. There's been some conversation going on with the Western Cape Police Commissioner, General Patekile, ahead of the arrival of the Deputy President of the country, Paul Mashatile, and Acting Police Commissioner Feroz Kachalia, who are themselves going to be speaking to these gang-affected communities to get a sense of just how much of a difference has been made since the military boots arrived on the ground in April. We're still speaking with Dr. Llewellyn McMaster from the Cape Crime Coalition. And Dr. McMaster, I want to ask you then, as we wait for the Deputy President to arrive, about the remarks made by the Provincial Police Commissioner, because he does concede. He concedes that the gains since the SANDF came into the picture have been marginal, but the tide, he seems to believe, is turning. Do you agree?
I think not a lot of people will agree with it, unfortunately. I think what people are experiencing is that the situation has actually worsened. And I listened earlier on, the police and what's happening even today is not helping to build trust with the communities, because 2 chairpersons of the CPFs in Mitchells Plain, of that area, and Lentegeur has expressed their utmost disappointment of not being allowed into that meeting. So how can you really talk about that we are moving in the right direction if you don't take the people who really put their lives, their bodies, on the line as volunteers, but people passionate about the community, if they're not allowed into a space where they can give feedback and engage, with critical conversations, what is really going on. So yes, I don't think that a lot of people will agree with General Patekile, and it brings me to what we've said in our document in terms of the guidelines. Please take the community with you. Please be transparent. You don't have to share all the the finer detail of operational stuff. But if the community is not taken into trust, and with the transparency told, this is what we are planning and this is what we plan to do, then the community has no way of evaluating whether what General Patekile is saying is really happening. So as I say, there's not going to be a lot of people that agree with him on this one.
Dr. Llewellyn McMaster, good to talk to you from the Cape Crime Coalition. I'm hoping that if you do have time for us to spare between now and 5 o'clock, once the Deputy President has spoken to people in these gang-affected communities, we can maybe get a sample, a sense from you of how you think, how useful today's engagement will be. You're watching SA Today. We'll take you back to Cape Town as and when we see the Deputy President.